It's Nolan. Now that I got your attention, I guess I should probably mention I got a new album available now on my site. Nigga, fuck all that whining and bitching. You looking for greatness, then I'm the description. Dropping me by like a prison. Twisting your brow like ignition and split, nigga. That's what I call on the vision. I'm finna infiltrate, you cannot imitate. I'm from a pedigree, this is not Triple H. I took a road, you can't travel like Triple H. Do the impossible, just like a triple play. Genuine energy, I am not Timberlake. But a nigga too insane. Truck for the money, better pull up in the ring. So I can give a what the fuck about what a nigga think. I'm on some new shit, elevated my rubric. I'm an industry nuisance, giving my 2 cents. Telling niggas what the truth is. It ain't even about music. Everybody wanna know the cheat code. Bitch, I got bops on reload. I was just on live 2 hours straight. Ain't play not one repeat song. I'm ready for the spotlight. I was on the block like a stoplight. Every day I catch lightning in the bottle. These niggas told lies by the night, hitting spots twice. Couple years I was living on fried rice. Like a tree when I got to eat Popeyes. Gotta beat I'ma get your whole top 5. Spit heat on top like a rabbi. It's no. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Hey man, Megan Thee Stallion is not playing around. She not playing with Tory Lanez. She not playing with Milagro Grrrls. Y'all know Tory just dropped a verse the other day on DDG's song where he's still referencing the shooting. You know, talking about he don't regret anything except leaving Kylie in the pool. I told y'all when that song came out, when that verse came out, this don't look like it's gonna fare well in his direction. You know, since he's out here still rapping about the incident and making reference to it, even though he's behind bars and voicing no remorse. Like, typically, as a prisoner, you would want to show remorse and resentment for your actions in order to, like, especially if you're somebody that's trying to appeal. But I'll digress on that. That's not so important. Maybe it is. But Megan Thee Stallion has officially filed for a restraining order on Tory Lanez. And of course, the filing also includes Milagro, because she's been building this case against Milagro, saying that she's been out here doing the bidding for Tory Lanez, to be his messenger, to be basically his voice box for harassment in the press and in the media and in social media, more specifically, right? To get under Megan Thee Stallion's skin, to agitate her, etc., right? We went through a filing the other day with the defamation and all of that type of stuff, but now Megan altogether wants a restraining order so she can be left the fuck alone. If y'all go back to my previous video talking about Homeboy's song, I said this could be grounds for her to file for a restraining order. A couple days later, what do we have on the table? What's that song? T.I. and Pharrell? Paperwork. Yeah, we got some paperwork here. Matter of fact, it's damn near 200 pages worth of paperwork. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all, if you're not here for the long haul, you might want to go elsewhere, because we go through the paperwork over here, baby. I don't want y'all to say I'm making shit up. I want y'all to see what it is for what it is. And if you don't like what it is, I guess that's what it is. Let's get to it, man. I don't want to waste no time because it's a lot to get through. Here we go. Request for civil harassment restraining orders filed December 17th. My God. Person seeking protection is Megan Pete. This is filed by Mari Henderson. We know Miss Mari from Jay-Z's situation. Quinn Emanuel. You know, they're both represented by the same legal team. We're going to skip some of this because of we don't need addresses and things of that nature to be revealed. Person from whom protection is sought. Full name, Daystar Peterson. Address, California Correctional Institution. Gee damn. This is not a court order. It's a request. Okay. Shout out to Document Teams for putting this out. Relationship of parties. How do you know the person? Says click here, check here if there is enough space for your if there's not enough space for your answer. Put your complete answer on the attached sheet of paper or form MC 025. Venue, the person in 2 lives in this county. I was harassed by the person in this county. Other court cases. Have you or any of the persons named in 3 been involved in another court case with the person in 2? She put the box for criminal, right? Because he's locked up. She put the case number. Are there any protective or restraining orders in effect relating to you or any of the persons in 3 and the person in 2? She says no, but that could be changing by the new year. 7, description of harassment. Harassment means violence or threats of violence against you or a course of conduct that seriously alarmed, annoyed, or harassed you and caused you substantial emotional distress. A course of conduct is more than one act. Tell the court about the last time the person harassed you. When did it happen? Provide date or estimated date. So she put 2021 through 2024. It's been 3 years of harassment plus the actual shooting that took place in 2024. So it's really been 4 long years. Okay. How did person in 2 harass you? Check here if there's not enough space. So this piece here is not enough space to even go into detail. Did the person in 2 use or threaten to use a gun or any other weapon? They checked the box that says yes. On July 12, 2020, Mr. Peterson fired 5 rounds of a semi-automatic firearm at Miss Pete, who had to undergo surgery for the serious gunshot wound she sustained to both her feet. On December 23rd, 2022, Mr. Peterson was convicted of 3 felony counts. 1, assault with a semi-automatic handgun. 2, carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle. And 3, discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Mr. Peterson was sentenced to 10 years in state prison, but continues his campaign of harassment from behind bars. They on your ass. Number 5, were you harmed or injured because of the harassment? Yes. Check here if the space is not enough. 6, did the police come? Check no. Okay. Has the person harassed you at other times? Check yes. Not enough space. Check the orders you want. So these are the different orders that she's requesting from the courts. Okay. Personal conduct order. I asked the court to order the person not to do any of the following things to me or to any person to be protected listed in 3. Harass, intimidate, attack, strike, stalk, threaten, assault, sexually or otherwise, hit, abuse, destroy personal property of or disturb the peace of the person. They also check, contact the person either directly or indirectly, which is very key here, indirect contact. Because, again, they're saying that Tory and his family are utilizing Miss Milagro as the source of harassment, right? Or indirectly in any way, including but not limited to in person, by telephone, in writing, by public or private email, by interoffice mail, by email, by text message, by fax, or by other electronic means. Okay? They also filed for a stay-away order. I asked the court to order the person in 2 to stay at least 100 yards away from me, my home, my job or workplace, my vehicle, and other. In terms of other, they state, Mr. Peterson has continued to engage in a campaign of harassment online and through social media, utilizing third parties to further victimize Miss Pete. As a result, Miss Pete requests that Mr. Peterson be ordered not to contact Miss Pete directly or indirectly or harass or intimidate her directly or indirectly online. If the court orders the person to stay away from all the places listed above, will he or she still be able to get to his or her home, school, or job? They say yes, because that nigga can only be in one place. And he got school, job, and everything in that motherfucker too if he want it. Ain't that something? As it pertains to firearms, they says, does the person in 2 own or possess any firearms? They say, I don't know, because of course he's locked up right now. He shouldn't have access to any firearms at this current time. Temporary restraining order. I request that a temporary restraining order be issued against the person to last until the hearing. I am presenting Form CH-110, temporary restraining order, for the court's signature together with request. Has the person been told that you were going to court to seek a TRO against him or her? The answer is no. And they say Miss Pete does not have any contact with Mr. Peterson. Mr. Peterson is also currently incarcerated. Okay. When it comes to requesting to give less than 5 days notice, they didn't check that box. They ask for no fee for filing or service. They say there should be no filing fee because the person has used or threatened to use violence against me, has stalked me, or has acted or spoken in some other way that makes me reasonably fear violence. Okay? And they're not asking for lawyer fees costs at this current time. Okay? Some of this stuff has been skipped, and we'll do the same. Number of pages attached to this form, if any. They say 18 plus exhibits, 187 pages total. Filed once again by Mari Henderson, lawyer's signature. And then, of course, this is, I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that the information above and on all attachments is true and correct. So that's Megan Pete, aka Megan Thee Stallion. Now we get into more details, right? Attachment 4, relationship of parties. So at this point, they're going to describe the length of their relationship, okay? Daystar Peterson, professionally known as rapper Tory Lanez, is the defendant in the criminal case, People vs. Daystar Peterson, held before the Honorable David Hereford on the Los Angeles Superior Court, Clara Shortridge Foltz Criminal Justice Center. On July 12, 2020, we saw them talk about this before. Mr. Peterson fired 5 rounds of a semi-automatic firearm at Miss Pete, professionally known as rapper Megan Thee Stallion, who had to undergo surgery for the serious gunshot wounds she sustained to both of her feet. Prior to the incident, Mr. Peterson and Miss Pete were friends. On December 23rd, 2022, that's going to be where he was convicted. We shall continue. Now they describe the length of the harassment, which is where I think a lot of this goes into play. Okay? Mr. Peterson is a violent and dangerous criminal. Holy shit. I mean, I guess, yeah. But to put it in those terms, yikes. And his established pattern of behavior demonstrates the reasons this civil harassment restraining order is necessary to protect Miss Pete and her well-being. Mr. Peterson has traumatized Miss Pete since 2020. Even now, while behind bars, Mr. Peterson shows no signs of stopping. Despite being convicted and sentenced to 10 years in state prison for shooting Miss Pete, Mr. Peterson continues to subject her to repeated trauma and re-victimization. All right? So they recount the situation once again of him shooting the 5 rounds. We don't got to reiterate that. We've already read it twice. Okay. October 8th, 2020, the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office charged Mr. Peterson with felony assault with a semi-automatic firearm. Shortly thereafter, October 13th, 2020, protective order was issued against Mr. Peterson, forbidding him from getting within 100 yards of Miss Pete. Later, February 21st, 2021, as a result of his escalating use of social media to re-victimize Miss Pete and portray her as a liar, a gag order was issued against him, barring him from contacting or harassing Miss Pete and from discussing evidence of the case with outside parties. So they're giving you a history of the violent past and also a history of previous harassment leading up to this current string of harassment she says that she's receiving. All right. Just keeping y'all in tune. Mr. Peterson violated both the protective order and the gag order leading up to his criminal trial, and his bail was increased as a result. In or around October 2022, Mr. Peterson assaulted musician August Alsina. So now they're giving even more more details on his violent past. Assaulted August Alsina. Damn. I didn't expect that to pop up in here. Given Mr. Peterson's violent propensities, the prosecution successfully argued that Mr. Peterson posed a threat to society and that monetary fines were not enough of a deterrent for his violent behavior. Consequently, Mr. Peterson was placed on house arrest. Okay, so that's even further giving you more context into how, they evaluated his place in society. On December 23rd, 2022, following a near 1 month trial, Mr. Peterson was convicted of one assault with semi-automatic handgun. We already went through those charges. Even from behind bars, Mr. Peterson continues to terrorize Miss Pete. Due to inadequacies and loopholes in the criminal justice system, Ms. Pete is currently without any formal protection against Mr. Peterson's attacks because the protective order issued against Mr. Peterson was only in effect from 2020 through 2023 before his sentencing, right? So now that he's in jail, he's finding other means. Given a recent change in the law, the criminal court can no longer issue a post-conviction criminal protective order against Mr. Peterson, absent a very narrow set of circumstances involving instances of DV, elder abuse, child abuse, and/or abduction and/or stalking. Since Ms. P and Mr. Peterson do not meet the definition of dating relationship because they ain't dating, you know what I'm saying? As outlined, Ms. Pete cannot obtain a criminal protective order against Mr. Peterson for abuse stemming from her DV. Okay, even though this case was specially prosecuted by the Family Violence Unit of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, given the limited circumstances in which a victim may seek a post-conviction criminal protective order against the victim's assailant, Ms. Pete is left without protection at a time where she needs it most. Most concerning is that if Ms. Pete is not issued at least a civil harassment restraining order, she will be left without any protection for when Mr. Peterson is released from prison. This possibility alone causes Ms. Pete severe emotional distress and makes her fearful for her life. It is counterintuitive and wholly illogical that Ms. Pete had protection by way of protective orders and gag orders issued against Mr. Peterson while he was deemed innocent, i.e. pre-conviction, but that such protections are no longer available to Ms. Pete due to a mere technicality in the law now that he has been convicted and proven guilty. The only recourse she now has is to seek a civil harassment restraining order against Mr. Peterson to end his ongoing campaign of harassment, which underscores the urgent need for a restraining order to protect Ms. Pete and further prevent harm. Mr. Peterson's attempts to re-traumatize and re-victimize Ms. Pete recognize no limits. Indeed, they continue even while he's behind bars. This civil harassment restraining order is even more necessary now that Mr. Peterson has yet again waged another campaign of harassment against Ms. Pete. One of Mr. Peterson's latest stunts involves his, stints, but you could say stunt too, involves his filing of a petition for writ of habeas corpus purposely filed one day before the premiere of Miss Pete's Amazon Prime documentary titled Megan Thee Stallion in Her Words, alleging that Mr. Peterson's constitutional right to due process had been violated by the governor's failure to produce and preserve evidence, which we saw was demonstrably false. A true and correct copy of Mr. Peterson's habeas corpus petition is attached here to Exhibit 19 at 6. Mr. Peterson claims that the gun and fragments from the incident are missing. They are not, and that is now impossible to conduct further testing that might help prove his innocence. These assertions are demonstrably false. Indeed, the Office of the Attorney General of California responded to Mr. Peterson's outrageous claims without providing any documentary evidence or declaration from either habeas counsel or a custodian of evidence for the Los Angeles Police Department. Petitioner simply asserts that the firearm and bullet fragments have not been preserved. A true and correct copy of the Attorney General's reply brief is attached as well. The Attorney General added, petitioner has not satisfied his burden of providing reasonably available documentary evidence that would support his factual assertions. His failure to do so is especially significant in this case because his unsupported claim that the LAPD has misplaced or lost the evidence is demonstrably false. The Attorney General's filing also included a declaration from the LAPD affirming that the gun remains in his custody, which directly refutes Mr. Peterson's claims. A true and correct copy of the LAPD's declaration is attached. Okay? So they're just outlining all of the little microaggressions and different tactics that Tory is allegedly employing, which continues to further his harassment or projection of discomfort onto Megan. While Mr. Peterson distorts and recklessly disregards the truth in his desperate attempt to appeal his conviction, his false assertions have reignited a slew of negative, harmful, and defamatory comments directed to Ms. Pete. These comments, much like those made near, during, and after the criminal trial, jeopardize the sanctity of the criminal proceedings and improperly question the veracity of Ms. Pete's statements, including comments questioning whether she was ever shot, despite Mr. Peterson's conviction by a jury of his peers on this same issue. Okay? So this is where we're getting into third-party action, right? Indeed, Mr. Peterson continues to harass, bully, and antagonize Miss Pete from prison by and through his use of third-party online bloggers. Let's get to it. Who Mr. Peterson employs to spread defamatory statements about Miss Pete. For example, one blogger, Elizabeth Milagro Cooper, has published several false statements about Miss Pete and the criminal trial. Miss Cooper's false statements are the subject of the civil lawsuit Megan Pete versus Milagro Elizabeth Cooper, pending before the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida, case number blank. A true and correct copy of the amended complaint is attached hereto as Exhibit 1. As detailed in the amended complaint, Ms. Cooper serves as Mr. Peterson's puppet and mouthpiece. You a puppet and a mouthpiece. Ain't that about a bitch? Mr. Peterson has publicly confessed that Milagro Grrrls is the realest. A true and correct copy of Mr. Peterson's tweet is attached hereto as Exhibit 2. Indeed, even a former close friend of Miss Cooper's, King Noir, admitted that Miss Cooper worked alongside Mr. Peterson to smear Miss Pete's reputation. A true and correct copy of the article discussing King Noir and his comments is attached hereto as Exhibit 3. He also affirmed that Miss Cooper has a disdain for Megan and that she talks to Tory's daddy. In an effort to leak information to the press that comes directly from Mr. Peterson, Ms. Cooper has made numerous false and unsubstantiated statements that attempt to call into question the integrity of the criminal trial, including acting like I'm crazy. Where are the bullet fragments that were referenced as metallic fragments in court and the doctor that took them out? Called an assistant who testified that there was no nerve damage to the stand and said bye. Child, where is the man that treated her for glass? A true and correct copy of this tweet is attached. So they have all of her online activity referencing Megan. They're now using it as evidence as to why she needs a restraining order. So they've been collecting your shit for years. Okay, another exhibit here. I don't think that Tory is innocent because of anything he did before that day. I can't speak on what a human will do. I think he's innocent because before waters got muddied, an independent witness saw a fight between two women that they refused to acknowledge after finding out that one had betrayed the other. No one proved who the gun belonged to. His DNA was inconclusive, and he wasn't the only one with gunshot residue on his hands, and every key witness contradicted themselves on the stand. These facts are why there's no lawsuit. They exist and validate my stance. This is another quote from Milagro. Once again, here's another. It's giving no nerve damage, like that doctor on the stand said. A true and correct copy. So the true and correct copy thing is them stating that they have actual screenshots to show the proof. Another statement. And if y'all believe her, why is who shot Megan a question that's being posed? Y'all so timid. Speak up. If you're still willing to toy with the idea that someone else could have caused her harm, then you should be able to acknowledge that that's the very reason why he doesn't need to be sitting in a cell right on time for the documentary. Yawn. Here's another one. According to recently filed paperwork in the Tory Lanez case, the gun and bullet fragments associated with the crime have gone missing. Lies. Okay. Here's another screenshot. It says, didn't I tell y'all that gun was never presented in court and that ain't make no damn sense? They gave the serial number and breezed past it. Like, first off, whose is it? Origin point, please. On October 28th, Miss Cooper reposted a video of herself asking, can you even prove she was shot? Here's another one. Actual screenshot. Imagine being a key factor in the incarceration of a man that a court couldn't prove guilty, then shaking your ass while rapping like someone trying to be placed on a blaxploitation film soundtrack to raise money for other wrongly incarcerated men. Shaking your ass like trying to be placed on a blaxploitation film? I watched my share of blaxploitation films. Hey, man, I ain't never seen a move like Megan. On April 21st, 2023, following his conviction, Mr. Peterson released on Instagram video and statement to his millions of social media followers making baseless accusations and calling into question the integrity of the criminal trial. Mr. Peterson proclaimed, today I take a stance as an innocent black man wrongfully convicted of a crime I did not commit. Mr. Peterson added that the prosecutors in the criminal trial unlawfully misused their authority to hide and suppress any and all exculpatory evidence that exonerates him or furthers his innocence. According to Mr. Peterson, he was completely robbed and deprived of a fair trial. Mr. Peterson also accused the prosecutors in the criminal trial of manipulating a false narrative that left him with no choice but to expose and make aware the practices, the behind-door deals, and the unjust system used to illegally convict him and countless other minorities. You would think a person with that much to say would have something to say on the stand for themselves. Just a few days later on, April 25th, 2023, Mr. Peterson repeated similar comments by claiming that the prosecutors lied about Mr. Peterson being the shooter, manipulated DNA results with LAPD experts, and lied to the media, the world, and the jury by using invalid and illegal tactics. Mr. Peterson also misrepresented the criminal trial's evidentiary record, including by claiming that his DNA results were manipulated because the prosecutor stated that his DNA on the gun was inconclusive, which according to him was an absolute lie. Mr. Peterson added, the prosecutors went on further to say inconclusive means I cannot be excluded from the gun. Our new attorney, Jose Baez, hired one of the best DNA experts from the nation to carefully analyze the same DNA test the fair and correct way. The results came back exactly as I knew this whole time. My DNA is 100% excluded and 100% eliminated from the gun. In other words, it's physically and scientifically impossible for me to have ever touched or shot this gun. Based on the fundamentals of my DNA test, the only possible way for the LA crime lab to come up with an inconclusive result would literally be to stop testing it before or complete its final result, which would have and should have shown my full exclusion on the weapon. In other words, the prosecutors lied to my jury with false, incorrect, and incomplete DNA results, violating my due process and 14th Amendment right. He went in grave detail telling these people these lies. On Information and Belief, October 2024, Mr. Peterson, through third parties, disseminated a rumor which falsely suggested that an appellate court declared his innocence over the incident. I remember that very clearly. It is difficult, if not impossible, to imagine how the appellate court considered consolidating Mr. Peterson's petitions for writ of habeas corpus and appeal can be interpreted as a declaration of innocence. Mr. Peterson's interpretation underscores his desire to spread misinformation in an effort to save his public image. Okay. December 10th, 2024, Ms. Pete amended her complaint in her case against Milagro Cooper before the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. Okay. And additional factual detail from Mr. Peterson's prison call logs, which shed light on Mr. Peterson's conspirational relationship with Ms. Cooper. In these prison calls, Mr. Peterson's father, when he thought no one was listening, asked his son about payment to Ms. Cooper for her harassment of Ms. Pete. He says, "How are they going to prove something like that?" Mr. Peterson responded. Exactly. Instead of denying that Ms. Cooper has been paid, they question how Ms. Pete uncovered their conspiracy. Now, there was an article that came out where Tory and his father are saying that they manipulated the phone calls to basically deliver a message. But I guess if you were to hear the unedited version of those phone calls, perhaps it would come across differently, right? I guess they're trying to say, Tory was like, man, they saying I'm paying Milagro. He said, how they gonna prove something like that? They can't, because you ain't never paid her. The documents here say that ain't what's going on. So Tory and his dad claim that their phone calls are being manipulated to favor Megan's story. I don't know. I haven't heard the calls, right? On December 13th, 2024, Mr. Peterson proved once again that he is working together with Ms. Cooper to bully, harass, and further victimize Ms. P. And let me just say, if this has to be presented to a court or anything, or if there's any sort of trial or anything that goes into this, unedited, I would be sure that the unedited version of those calls would be revealed. And I don't think that it would be smart to introduce these calls if their theory is just going to be debunked. I'm just saying, it wouldn't be smart. Let me go back. December 13, 2024, Mr. Peterson proved once again that he is working together with Ms. Cooper to bully, harass, and further victimize Ms. Pete through a statement put out by Unite the People, the law firm Mr. Peterson himself recruited to represent Ms. Cooper in an effort to cover up their conspiracy. Mr. Peterson again falsely accused Ms. Pete of deceit and manipulation as part of a calculated attempt to continue his harassment campaign. And we only on fucking page 20. You see, it's 194 of these hoes, man. I don't think I'm going to make it all the way through. Harm or injury. Mr. Peterson's continued harassment of Ms. Pete has caused severe emotional distress and reputational harm. Mr. Peterson is fully aware of the impact of the psychological warfare he has waged against Ms. Pete, yet he continues to deputize his supporters to attack Ms. Pete's character and integrity. During the criminal trial, Ms. Pete testified that the incident ruined her life and forced her into a depressive state. Ms. Pete detailed numerous instances of being called a liar. She even recounted instances of death threats. She's received since the incident. Ms. Pete noted, I feel like I can't even hold a conversation with people for a long time. I don't want to talk to my friends. Don't want to talk to my man. I don't want to talk to anybody I don't want anybody to ask me about this. I feel terrible talking about it. I feel like I had started to feel like because it don't matter. I don't even want to be on this earth no more. I wish he would have shot and killed me if I would have known I was going to go through this torture. Right? Ms. Pete also detailed her experiences after the incident in an article she authored on Elle magazine, August 8th, 2023, titled Nobody Can Take Your Power. Megan Thee Stallion, in her own words, a true and correct copy of the article is attached. In the article, Ms. Pete reflected on surviving the unimaginable. She survived being shot by someone she trusted and considered a close friend and overcame the public humiliation of having her name and reputation dragged through the mud by Mr. Peterson for the entire world to see. Ms. Pete recalled that for years, her attacker laughed and joked about her trauma. For years, her attacker peddled false narratives about what happened on the night of July 12, 2020. For years, her attacker tried to leverage social media to take away her power on how it impacted her mental health. Ms. Pete wrote, the truth is, I started falling into a depression. I didn't feel like making music. I was in such a low place that I didn't even know what I wanted to rap about. I wondered if people even cared anymore. There would be times that I'd literally be backstage or in my hotel, crying my eyes out, and then I'd have to pull Megan Pete together and be Megan Thee Stallion. As to the constant harassment she continues to receive from Mr. Peterson and third parties at his discretion, Ms. Pete discussed in her documentary, Megan Thee Stallion, in her words, that she would rather not live through this than to have to live with this. In the documentary, Ms. Pete discusses her suicidal ideations that led to her 1 month stay at a mental health retreat right before the criminal trial. And this mental health retreat, I believe, is actually going to play an even bigger part in this, but we'll get there. Years after the criminal trial, Mr. Peterson, by and through his media puppets, continued to reoffend Ms. Pete by forcing her to relive the trauma. Previous harassment. Mr. Peterson's harassment of Ms. Pete began after the incident, long before the criminal trial. Mr. Peterson denied that Ms. Pete was ever even shot, widely publicizing the false narrative that she fabricated her own assault. For example, September 25th, 2020, Mr. Peterson released a track titled Money Over Fallouts, in which he raps, how the fuck you get shot in your foot, don't hit no bones or tendons. That's why I ain't listened to that goddamn album. To shield Ms. Pete from Mr. Peterson's harmful conduct, the Honorable David Hereford issued both a protective order and gag order against Mr. Peterson on October 13, 2020 and February 21st, 2021, respectively. The protective order prohibited Mr. Peterson from getting within 100 yards of Ms. Pete, and the gag order barred Mr. Peterson from contacting or harassing Ms. Pete and from discussing evidence of the case with outside parties, orders Mr. Peterson violated and for which he was imprisoned and fined. And I also think that discussing details and evidence of the case with outside parties could also be a violation, as he communicates or has information communicated to Milagro. Right? In or around October 2020, Mr. Peterson published on Instagram a video that claimed Ms. Pete was endorsing a false narrative about being shot. July 25th, 2021, during Ms. Pete's performance at the Rolling Loud Festival in Miami, Florida, Mr. Peterson got within 100 yards of the stage on which Miss Pete was performing in violation of the protective order. Y'all remember that shit when DaBaby and him came out in them fucking suits, them damn costumes, puppet suits and shit, jumped out the car on some weirdo shit. When Miss Pete learned that Mr. Peterson was in such close proximity, she grew fearful and anxious. Following the festival, Mr. Peterson made public comments on X, formerly Twitter, that he was starting to not give a fuck about his gag order. On August 23rd, 2021, the court found that Mr. Peterson had violated the criminal protective order and increased his bail to 250 racks. Mr. Peterson was admonished and advised that further violation would result in remand. February 23rd, 2022, a since-deleted social media post, Mr. Peterson's close friend and media puppet, DJ Academics, falsely claimed that a pretrial hearing revealed that Mr. Peterson's DNA was nowhere to be found on the gun. DJ Academics posted his tweet before the February 23rd, 2022 court hearing began, during which the DNA report was discussed. Man, Academics, Livingston Allen, the DJ that don't spin, your name is popping up in a lot of paperwork lately, sir. You might think you're becoming infamous. Be careful. You might have some more paperwork coming to your doorstep. In actuality, during that hearing, Mr. Peterson's attorney merely notified the court that his team was retaining a DNA expert and not that his DNA was not found on the gun. So, manipulating stories. After the court, which is the same thing that Tory and his dad are claiming that Megan's doing. After the court hearing, Academics posted to his ex, formerly Twitter account, "I saw this doc myself. It literally says it was an inconclusive in finding Tory's DNA on the gun or magazine." Academics also tweeted directly at Miss Pete, "You literally won all your awards off sympathy off this. You got shot storyline. And you so bothered over my tweeting out facts about Tory case. Go ask the DA. DNA results was submitted in discovery. Why you care so much what the internet says? Oh, I know. You been living off a narrative and it's sad. You made it where if Tory don't go to jail, you don't win." So Academics comes out here boldly speaking out of his puffy chest, going directly at Megan. That was very confident and flagrant, if I may say so myself, especially to be proven wrong by the courts. On or around March 12, 2022, defendant published a disturbing music video with lyrics and violent imagery referencing the criminal trial and Miss Pete. In his track titled Cap, a slang term meaning lie, in the accompanying music video, Mr. Peterson is seen in a butcher shop holding a blood-stained butcher's knife before slicing through a horse's dismembered leg and hoof, rapping, "Said the beef was over, that was motherfucking Cap." Who beefs with women? Attached here too as Exhibit 16 are still shots from the music video depicting these scenes. On Information and Belief, these scenes allude to Miss Pete's injuries from when she was shot by Mr. Peterson. Mr. Peterson cutting through a horse's leg is a reference to Megan Pete's stage name, Megan Thee Stallions, not a coincidence. In the next scene in the music video, Mr. Peterson is seen standing outside a courthouse grabbing a microphone from a reporter as he raps. I'm sure he would love a microwave. "Bitches trying to end me, so I cannot be polite." Attached here too as Exhibit 17 is a still shot from that scene. On Information and Belief, this is directed at Miss Pete, and the imagery in the video refers to the court's gag order that Mr. Peterson cannot publicly comment on the case. The music video also features a scene involving Mr. Peterson and a woman with physical similarities to Miss Pete as he raps, "Ken just got them two best friends to fuck. I said goals." Attached here too as Exhibit 18 are still shots from that scene. So all of this stuff has been screenshotted and submitted to the courts. On Information and Belief, this refers to Miss Peterson's claims of having sexual relationships with Miss Pete and her then friend, Miss Harris Kelsey. Even the court's orders and admonishment did not stop Mr. Peterson's offensive and harmful behavior. On April 5th, 2022, Mr. Peterson violated the discovery protective order, this time by disclosing the LAPD DNA report, which was the subject of the discovery protective order, to his millions of followers on his social media account. Exhibit 11 at 5. To add insult to injury, Mr. Peterson also posted degrading and derogatory tweets about Miss Pete, implying that he never apologized for shooting Miss Pete. Rather, his apology was because he got caught fucking two best friends. And here's the screenshot. Good dick had me fucking two best friends and I got caught. That's what I apologize for. It's sick how you spun it though. So what I don't understand, you apologized for doing something heinous while being drunk, some shit that you would never do because you was just so fucking drunk. That don't sound like whatever. Or you got drunk and you landed in the... Come on, man. That don't lead to nobody getting shot. Get out of here. Mr. Peterson's blatant disregard for the court's orders led to an increase of his bail to $350,000. Mr. Peterson was also remanded to custody before posting a new bond. Now, here is, and we've gone through this already, this document here, Megan versus Milagro with the amended defamation suit. So we're going to skip through some of this because we've already spoken at length about this. Because this was filed 7 days ago. So we already have an entire video speaking on this. Okay. So in this, Megan's attorneys basically, again, screenshot and quote all of Milagro's, public harassment that she's done primarily on Twitter, but also on YouTube. Right. And she's broadcast these narratives, these insults, these misquotes of what took place in court, etc., to over 100,000 people online, collectively on all of her social media. So we're not going to get too caught up on this because I'm trying to get to the new information. Okay. So y'all really got all 40 pages of that shit in here? Hold on. Let me skip past some of this. All right. So now we've got new information here, screenshots, etc., speaking to benefits, financial benefits that Tory and or his father have offered to Milagro or provided to Milagro. Okay, we've got somebody here that says people forget that Tory Lanez offered Milagro a podcast and made other promises to her. His people directly sent her news about the case. Payment can come in the form of boosting her following and promoting her platform. Let's not be slow, people. Somebody says that's a lie. We've got Opinionated Truths here. Shout out to Opinionated Truths. She says, try another, not me. And here she includes screenshots of Tory Lanez boosting up Milagro. Okay. We've got this source article here. Former friend of blogger Milagro Grrrls blasts her for allegedly working with Tory Lanez and smear efforts against Megan Thee Stallion. Right? So this is an article that speaks on Milagro and her former friend. I believe this would be King Noir, exposing Milagro Grrrls and her connection to working alongside Tory to smear Megan Thee Stallion. Noir made the reveal during a recent episode on his station head platform. To think people on the source are actually covering some of these folks. Ooh, documentation. Say Noir at one point was Milagro's best friend. During the friendship, Milagro allegedly assisted Tory in mudslinging toward Megan Thee Stallion during the legal case. Milagro is also suspected of peddling false information against Megan Thee Stallion. During a stream on Station Head, Noir spoke against Milagro, citing she has a disdain for Megan and that she talked to his daddy. Noir also states that he was included on a three-way call with Milagro and Tory's father, aligning with the time that information was leaked on the internet. Megan Thee Stallion has made it clear that she wants Tory Lanez in jail. All right, we'll go past that because that's already happened. Here we've got another screenshot. Acting like I'm crazy. Where the bullet fragments? We already talked about that part. So these are the exhibits. They've already made reference to these things, but now they're showing you the proof. right? And the proof is very vital because many of these tweets and different things that Milagro has previously said, she's been actively deleting from social media to try to absolve herself of any wrongdoing, but unfortunately, they've already been archived. Okay? According to recently filed paperwork in the Tory Lanez case. So these are all the lies, and they've got links to these things as well. Again, some are possibly deleted, some are still there. Okay, so this is all of the she talk. What is this? June 6, 2023, Superior Court of the State of California for the County of Los Angeles. People versus Daystar Peterson. So this is a statement of facts about the issue, the incident that occurred, the shooting. We already know about that. I mean, his ass is behind bars for all this stuff. We've already gone over this. Imagine being a key factor. This is a screenshot of that. I think this is his appeal. So everything that Tory has been involved with and Milagro have been involved with are being put on Front Street. We're going to skip through some of this because most of this information is already known or been talked about. So the rest of that filing was just the exhibits and proof of all of the things that were stated previously in the petition for a restraining order. So there wasn't anything else that was like of grave need. But what we will do is go ahead and pull up Miss Lauren LaRosso. Y'all know her from Breakfast Club and stuff like that. She came out today and she had some things to say, which I'm going to show y'all. Where's my... Come on, dog. Hold on. So she says, TMZ just exclusively reported that Megan Thee Stallion filed for a restraining order against Tory Lanez, who's currently serving a 10-year sentence for her shooting in Cali, alleging he's been still harassing her from behind bars in various ways. She says, I have exclusive details. I'm told that in addition to several claims listed, Megan's lawyers obtained Zelle records showing Tory Lanez's father sending money to blogger Milagro Cooper to alleged post negative stories about Megan. I guess to say allegedly post. Payments allegedly include $3,000 between October 28th, 2020 and March 3rd of 2022 in 6 payments between $200 and $1,000. Story developing. Okay. Not only that, we've also got Megan Cuniff coming out, and she's providing screenshots of those payments. She says, Megan's lawyers also obtained Zelle records that show Lane's father, Sunstar Carlisle John Peterson. That's his whole name. I wonder if Sunstar is even his birth name. Paid Milagro $3,000 between October 28th, 2020 and March 3rd, 2022 in 6 payments between $200 and $1,000. So here we are. Damn, because you know Venmo put your shit on. No, that's Zelle, excuse me. Zelle payments. Damn, how they get that? So October 28th in 2020, $500 was deposited into her account. February 23rd, 2021, he sent a thou wow. 2 days later, he sent another $300. A couple weeks later, he sent $200. About a month later, 421, you know, she probably went out there and got a little bit of that smoke. He said, let me reimburse you for your smoke. Sent her another $500. March 3rd, 2022, he sent another $500. So she's been paid around $3,000 via Zelle from Tory Lanez's father for what people are alleging is these hate stories, these malicious posts, these lies, the misinformation about the court case, the misinformation about his appeal, all of these different things. They're saying she's being paid to conduct all of this. And this is just from 2020 to 2022. That's not even counting what may have been sent to her in the past 2 years, perhaps through a different account or something else. Maybe a Cash App. Maybe, maybe they tried to, start circumventing this Zelle. Because how the hell did they get this? I'm still baffled at the fact that it's just $3,000. So maybe Jay-Z wasn't all the way off when he was offering motherfuckers a thou wow. Because these niggas was, get you 200 here, I give you 300. Man, you out here potentially obstructing justice for $3,000? You got to be a damn bad motherfucker, man. Can't nobody, man, come on, man. You finna get a whole ass defamation suit against your ass. They finna make you pay up in excess of $75,000, and you mean to tell me these niggas only paid you $3,000 for 2 years? Something had to have exponentially changed in the last 2 years to where you still going at this shit. Did they give you a vehicle? You know what I'm saying? Like, did they pay off somebody's school tuition? I don't know if she got kids, but something, bruh. Don't tell me you did this shit for an Andre 3K. You got to be down in hell. You got to be in about the 9th ward of the division of hell for 3K, man. Whoo, shit. Developing story. We're going to see what else gets revealed because, as you can see, Megan and her legal team are not taking their foot off the gas. They're pursuing this very heavily. They want this restraining order ASAP. They want for Tory Lanez to not be able to do his bidding through Milagro Cooper. So they definitely want him to be cut off from sending messages, giving people details about anything. And I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if Milagro is hit with some sort of gag order, or at least I won't say get hit with one, but perhaps there's a request for a gag order, request for restraining order, and different things that are coming in her direction as well after all of this. So that's what we got, man. This shit is going super digital, and we still have 2 weeks left in the fucking year. We still got 2 weeks out there, bit, man. What else can happen? What else could happen in the next 14 days? Are y'all gonna take Christmas off? Or do y'all not observe the holiday? Oh, boy, tune in for the next fucking episode of Dragon Ball Z, man. Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider, and I will catch y'all on the next one, man. Salute to everybody, the whole 18K crew. We're probably going to be hitting that 19 very soon, and I greatly appreciate y'all. Peace! King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming, I swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross I'm out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.